The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
So, in the midst of this Flint water crisis and Sebring, both cities, among other things, Obama has, with his 2017 budget, proposed $300 million for water security. And this doesn't just cover water that might be polluted. This is really all-encompassing. I guess included in this bill were things like an oil tax, an autonomous vehicle plan, and all these other things. Not much attention paid to the water security, and $300 million when it comes to a national budget is really a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
A drop of toxic water in the bucket. And, well, let's, I guess, get into it a little bit. There's some desalinization stuff in here. Excuse me. Yeah, my throat's been really dry lately.
I've noticed that. The last 6 or 7 years, it's been bad.
No, only recently. And at times in the past. But right. For the past few months, it's been okay.
Good.
Okay. Innovation, reform, technological solutions. There is a lot of concern over droughts. Droughts have been really bad as of late. Mm-hmm. And superstorms, how superstorms might affect things. So there's a lot of money in this going into a desalinization research hub. Water modeling. So you want a more resilient water system that's better prepared for whatever may happen. Real-time usage data. I guess this is not something that is a thing yet. Real-time usage data seems good.
I think only at the micro level, like it's in some municipalities, for example.
Yeah. And water conservation. So these are all the things that are involved in here. And such a small amount of money in this. I think, of course, it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. Now, you know what the critique is, right? Of all the things you mentioned in terms of water, the one that's missing is the one from Cowspiracy, which is the water usage of animal agriculture, which is undeniably a really big issue. Taking shorter showers is of essentially no consequence compared to the water that goes into the average amount of meat that someone eats in a week, for example. That is the sort of prime thesis of the documentary Cowspiracy, although some elements of the movie have been debunked as sort of exaggerated or overstated. Nobody can deny that animal agriculture and agriculture in general actually use an incredible amount of water. And we need to sort of consider the water to nutrient ratio that is there, but that's often missing from any government decree about water.
Yeah, well, when was the last time we talked about not just Obama administration, any administration passing any type of meaningful legislation on animal farming, that type of agriculture?
Other than banning journalists from filming huge farms? Yeah.
Right.
That's the one that stands
anything
out to me.
positive.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah, I can't think of one. In the entire time we've been doing this show, nothing's comes to mind.
Well, they're also, let's be clear, it's not at the top of our list in priorities of reporting.
No, but you would still think it might have come up at some point.
Sure. That's fair.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, so good. This is a good one. I don't know everything that's in this budget, but there are some good things. A fraction of the money requested to fight heroin. Interestingly enough, I would say that water is more important than fighting heroin addiction.
We're out of water. People are going to be turning to heroin real quick.
Well, just to finish yourself off, maybe.
Right.
If you're dying from dehydration. All right. There has been a terrorist bombing on a flight. This terrorist blew himself up, I guess, in a laptop bomb. And it blew a hole in the side of the plane, a small one. Not even big enough to take up 2 windows. Only 1 window. I don't know if the bomb killed this guy immediately, but the man, 55-year-old Abdullahi Absidalam Borel.
Spot on.
Yeah, I nailed that one. Was supposedly handed this laptop by 2 men posing as airline workers at the Mogadishu airport. He gets sucked out of the plane as soon as the bomb goes off.
Right.
And 2 other people were injured, did not kill anyone else.
Well, that's the thing. When it's one of these smaller planes that flies lower, it's not an instance where a hole immediately sucks out a ton of people. Like they're lucky that it was a small plane that flies relatively low, so that other people weren't sucked out and were only injured. And I say that not that being only injured is no big deal.
But it's still not that small a plane.
Right.
I mean, it's still a pretty good sized plane.
Oh, was it? I remember that it was small. How big was it?
See?
No, that's way bigger than I thought. Okay, well, shocking then.
Yeah, and so the plane made a landing. The plane made an emergency landing. There's video. You can look at the video from inside the plane. There are people with oxygen masks on. Everyone was pushed to the back of the plane.
I take back everything I said. I thought that this was a totally different plane.
I mean, it's not a 747, but
no.
But
it's
still,
a jet airliner.
it is. And there's one guy with a cell phone camera who looks so calm. He looks completely calm.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But
this reminds me of the story where the trainer of which we're going to do on Friday, the suicide bomb trainer blows up himself and his entire class trying to teach people to be suicide bombers.
Mm-hmm.
Little different because actual innocent people were injured here.
Yeah. It's different. Yeah, they were going to blow themselves up anyway. They just didn't get anyone else with them.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful thing. So anyway, I guess they apprehended these fake security guards, or so it would seem. The suspects are cooperating and we're getting information, they say, from a Somali government spokesperson. And I mean, I don't know what else to say about this really, other than it's just imagine being on that plane.
I know.
I mean,
every time I think about that, I wonder here it doesn't seem like there was really an opportunity to stop anything, but we've talked about it before. If you see someone get up and take out a knife and it's clear it's on, right? Do you freeze or do you spring into action? And I know a lot of people would like to think that they spring into action in those scenarios, but I think the reality is not everybody would, and that's not a criticism, right? I mean, when these things happen, it can almost become surreal, right? This isn't really happening. That nobody's really taking over, hijacking my plane or whatever.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of go into shock.
Yeah.
Or something like it.
I think so.
Yeah. I've certainly never been in a situation like that, nor do I want to be.
Yeah.
But it's, a bomb goes off and there's a hole in your airplane that's thousands of feet in the air.
Yeah.
Man. But maybe by the time this video was filmed, people had already kind of calmed down and it was clear that the threat was over and they were going to land successfully. And somehow this guy only killed himself.
This is why they tell you to take those laptops out of the bag, apparently.
Yeah, but I guess they scan your laptop. But how does taking it out of the bag change anything when it comes to scanning?
Just so it wouldn't be, you could maybe have it in your bag shielded in some way so that the X-ray machine wouldn't pick up that there's explosives in the laptop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to get a clear scan of it would be my assessment.
Clear scan is good. Okay, there is a Titanic replica that will set sail in 2018. The project had been delayed. This Australian billionaire, Clive Palmer, has this fully functioning replica, and he's planning on launching it. Now, some people, this article calls it an exact replica. Some people are saying it's not an exact replica. I hope it's not an exact replica.
Yeah.
Probably a bit safer, and probably not running off of, coal? But maybe it is. So anyway, this is going to have modern evacuation procedures, satellite controls, digital navigation and radar systems. Nothing about the engine, though. They will offer second and third class tickets, 9 floors, 840 cabins, capable of accommodating 2,400 passengers, 900 crew members, along with Turkish baths, swimming pool, and gymnasiums. Would you get on this thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's a replica, but it's a modern vessel. It has it would, if I didn't, it would be from mere
But don't you think there just
superstition.
might be some bad juju?
It would be superstition from the sense of bad luck or something like that. But it's just a brand new vessel that just looks like an old ship that crashed. I think I would get on it. I don't think I'd think twice about it.
Have you been on a cruise like this before?
Never. No, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not really interested in cruises, but I would get on this particular boat, sure.
Yeah, cruises are pretty boring. You have to be one of those people who likes to just really do nothing.
I like to do that at the beach somewhere. I don't know that I would want to do it on a boat, and then you hear about, the food poisoning that sometimes happens on these places. You only get a little bit of time usually at each place that it stops, and you're basically a captive audience, right? And that's just sort of what I'm against.
Yeah, the trip is the boat.
Right.
And I find that I've been on some pretty big boats, and it just doesn't do anything for me.
There you go.
I drink more than I ever drink on these boats because there's nothing else to do.
Sure.
I'm not going to gamble.
Although your mom, I saw her a couple times ago when I saw her at a wedding, she's big on cruises, and she was really encouraging me to consider it. And she made it sound like it's not bad.
Well, she's wrong, and she's listening to this. And Mom, you're wrong. Cruises are not exciting.
I like relaxing,
Yeah, but I know that you cannot just sit on a beach all day.
No, I go to the beach for half the day.
Yeah, and then you want to actually go see some things,
right?
And do stuff.
My routine is I get there, I go in the water for a half hour, I come out, I dry off, I read for a half hour, I go for a walk for a half hour, I come back, I go back in the water for a half hour, I dry off, I read for a half hour, and that's pretty much it for me. Plus, it's like, how long am I really going to stay out there? I really have to avoid getting burned too.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you have some shows on the boat, performances. Some of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So what I do is I just sit in the hot tub and drink all day and all night, and that's a cruise. So I'm not into that. But I guess this could kind of be fun in a gimmicky sort of way.
Right.
The Titanic 2. Anyway, that's the Titanic 2. It will be setting sail in 2018. You can get your tickets. I don't know when you can get your tickets.
Probably outrageously overpriced.
Probably. Leave it to a billionaire to build a replica of the Titanic for shits and giggles. Right?
Sounds almost Howard Hughes-like.
Yeah.
In some way.
Anything to add?
I've got nothing else.
Okay.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.